Risk register is an important component of the overall risk management framework. An in-depth understanding of this topic will enable us to understand the risk management processes better. The purpose of a risk register is to record the details of all risks that have been identified along with their analysis and plans for how those risks will be treated. It is the responsibility of the project manager to ensure that the risk register is updated whenever necessary. The task of updating the risk register is usually delegated to the project control function. The list of risks that are identified and recorded in the risk register drives the following risk management processes, which are perform qualitative risk analysis, perform quantitative risk analysis, plan risk response, and monitor and control risk. In the perform qualitative analysis process, details are added to the existing list of risks in the risk register, including the priority of risks, the urgency of the risks, the categorization of risks, and any trends that were noticed while performing this process. In the perform quantitative risk analysis process, the risk register is updated with the probabilities associated with each identified risk and the probability of meeting the cost and time projections. Additionally, risk priorities are updated and trends that have been observed are also noted. In the planned risk response process, a specific response plan is created to manage each risk. These risk response plans are updated in the risk register as an output of this process. While managing risks, we need to remember not all risks are negative. Positive risks are opportunities. Accordingly, a project manager should devise strategies for managing negative risks or threats and positive risks or opportunities. In the monitor and control risks process, plans are reassessed and reevaluated. The risk register is updated with information on new risks as an output of this process. This information should be regularly updated in the risk register, whether it is changes to the risk estimates or actual numbers such as costs related to weather damage. Identifying risks is the process of understanding what potential events might hurt or enhance a particular project. It is important to identify potential risks early, but you must also continue to identify risks based on the changing project environment. Also, remember that you cannot manage risks if you do not first identify them. Many potential risks can be identified by understanding common sources of risks and reviewing a project's planning documents, activity cost and duration estimates, the scope baseline, stakeholder register, enterprise environmental factors, and organizational process assets. There are several tools and techniques for identifying risks. These common information gathering techniques include brainstorming, the Delphi technique, interviewing, and SWOT analysis. Brainstorming is a technique by which a group attempts to generate ideas or find a solution for a specific problem by amassing ideas spontaneously without judgment. This approach can help the group to create a comprehensive list of risks to address later in the qualitative and quantitative risk analysis processes. An experienced facilitator should run the brainstorming session and introduce new categories of potential risks to keep the ideas flowing. After the ideas are collected, the facilitator can group and categorize the ideas to make them more manageable. However, group effects such as fear of social disapproval, the effects of authority hierarchy, and domination of the session by one or two very vocal people often inhibit idea generation for many participants. Delphi technique helps prevent some of the negative group effects found in brainstorming. The basic concept of the Delphi technique is to derive a consensus among a panel of experts who make predictions about future developments. It is a systematic, interactive forecasting procedure based on independent and anonymous input regarding future events. The Delphi technique uses repeated rounds of questioning and written responses, including feedback to earlier round response, to take advantage of group input, while avoiding the biasing effects possible in oral panel deliberations. To use the Delphi technique, you must select a panel of experts for the particular art in question. Next, interviewing. Interviewing is the fact-finding technique for collecting information in face-to-face, phone, email, or instant messaging discussions. Interviewing people with similar project experience is an important tool for identifying potential risks. Another technique is a SWOT analysis of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, which is often used in strategic planning. SWOT analysis can also be used during a risk identification by having project teams focus on the broad perspectives of potential risks for particular projects. Applying SWOT to specific potential projects can help identify the broad risks and opportunities that apply in a specific project scenarios. Now, we will talk about the risk register contents, and this is how the risk register table looks like. There are several contents inside the risk register table, and we will explain it one by one in more a while. We start from the left-hand side of the risk register table. The first one is rank. This is the place to determine that which is the rank for each risk through matrix. Next is risk. For the risk column, it is a short or simple title of the risk. Description column, it is a brief description about what is the risk is about, the causes and impact, category. This is where to categorize the risk, either it will be market, financial, people, technology or structural risk. Root cause. This column is about the cause that would be causing the risk. Triggers. Triggers is something which indicates that a risk is about to occur or has already occurred. The next one is potential response. Potential response is the action to be taken if the risk occurs. Risk owner is to identify that who is the owner of the risk, who is to responsible of tracking the risk. Also, risk owner need to manage the risk response if the risk occurs. The next is probability. Probability is the probability of the risk if occur, possibility happen or not. By using scales and either low, medium or high, to rate the risk. Next is impact. Impact is the impact of the risk. Same as probability, it using scales to rate the risk and it can be either low, medium or high impact for the risk too. The last one is status. Status is to check that how was the risk ongoing currently.